Hi, my name is Canon Phil Harris. Thank you for allowing me to have these few moments with you. I have become concerned on several levels about the responses, particularly in social media, regarding the situation in Israel, Gaza and the Middle East. A number of the comments are from people who frankly should know better. They often highlight a poorly formed historical understanding, and in most cases are from people who have never visited the Holy Land. Of course, some have an agenda and a narrative that is either deliberately anti-Semitic or very often Holocaust deniers, and will happily turn a blind eye to the genuine murder of innocents until Israel is at war. Even then, they will call out Israel, but ignore atrocities that are going on throughout the rest of the world. Add to the social media frenzy the blatant anti-Israel ideologies of what were Ivy League universities in the United States, and the marches in the US and amongst others in London, my nation's capital, where people are literally marching without any idea of what they are marching for, other than Jews bad, Palestinians good. And Jews are killing innocent Palestinians, therefore Jews are Nazis and Jews are committing genocide. All of this whilst they're asking for genocide as they enthusiastically chant from the river to the sea. I cannot keep silent any longer. Consequently, I'll be doing a series of videos that I hope will in some way correct and address the narrative for those who want to be informed. By context, I appreciate that it can be in our nature to side with the underdog. Let me say directly and clearly, this is not that. There is tension in the Holy Land because the actors since the fall of the Ottoman Empire have created a false story of oppressed versus oppressor, occupier versus wronged. This story has been exaggerated and allowed to run wild, costing billions of dollars in aid. And people generationally living in so-called refugee camps with refugee status, all to feed a narrative and at the loss of innumerable lives. The rich have gotten richer, so-called Palestinian leaders are billionaires, and aid agencies, instead of helping people, are given a reason to exist. We need to correct the narrative and correct it quickly for both Jews and Arabs alike. As a priest in the Church of God, let me first say that any loss of life is a tragedy. Secondly, from 2009 to 2017, I spent an average a month each year in Israel and the West Bank. I journey as part of my Christian ministry, which takes me all over the world with Palestinians, Israelis and rabbis. And thirdly, I was in Israel just before Hamas attacked Israel as an act of war. In a subsequent video, I will deal with the claim that Israel is occupying Palestinian land. But before we can talk about that and address that wrong, we have to establish the term Palestinian, which itself is a misnomer and is part of the problem we face. False identity and history have been enabled in this misnomer. In 132 AD, the province of Judea was renamed Syria Palestina, later called Palestine. And according to Eusebius of Caesarea, in Ecclesiastical History, Book 4, Chapter 6, no Jew was henceforth allowed to set forth in Jerusalem or the surrounding district. This prohibition was relaxed later to permit Jews to enter Jerusalem once a year on a day of mourning called Tisha B'Avar. What Yasser Arafat managed to do in the 1960s was rename Arabs living in the land of Palestine as Palestinians, when in fact they were correctly Arabs. The West fell for this sleight of hand. Therefore, it is worth noting several things. Firstly, Yasser Arafat himself was an Egyptian, an Arab. Two, despite the diaspora and Ottoman rule, Jews lived continually in Palestine, in Eretz Israel, Palestine, the land of Israel. Thirdly, in 1902, the first bank in Palestine, the Anglo-Palestine Bank, was established and run by Jews. In 1936, the musicians in the Palestine Symphony Orchestra were all Jewish. In 1939, the players of the Palestine national football team were, you've guessed it, Jewish. Furthermore, after the formation of the Palestinian Liberation Organization, PLO, Commander Zouir Moshen said, remarkably this: the Palestinian people does not exist. The creation of a Palestinian state is only a means for continuing our struggle against the state of Israel for our Arab unity. In reality today, there is no difference between Jordanians, Palestinians, Syrians and Lebanese, he continued. Only for political and tactical reasons do we speak today about the existence of a Palestinian people, since Arab national interest demands that we posit the existence of a distinct Palestinian people to oppose Zionism. And so there you have it, directly from, as it were, the horse's mouth. Please don't listen to me, listen to Zouir Moshen. Seventhly, the achievement of Yasser to align Arab people with Palestine as their land was remarkable, because in Arabic the sound represented by the letter P, as in Palestine, is not present as in other languages. And as a result, when pronouncing foreign words containing the letter P, Arabic speakers often substitute it with the closest equivalent sound, typically the B sound. How can one then claim Palestine without the letter P? As the PLO and its narrative continue to gather pace, and despite Yasser Arafat amazingly winning the Nobel Peace Prize in 1994, which, as the father of terrorism, takes some doing and shows the deception for what it is and highlights who are some of the more modern actors. In 1996, Yasser Arafat in Sweden said this: "We plan to eliminate the state of Israel and establish a purely Palestinian state. We will make life unbearable for Jews by psychological warfare and population explosion. We Palestinians will take over everything, including all of Jerusalem." There is no intention or opportunity for peace with this agenda pursued today by Hamas, the Palestinian Authority, Jihad, Hezbollah and others under the head of the snake, Iran. Building on and supporting a lie and peace simultaneously is impossible, for there is no foundation on which to build. We have to find a way to re-educate the indoctrinated and to find a further way to protect innocent lives caught up in this struggle, because Hamas has already said it doesn't care for them other than for their ability as human shields. I'll continue the theme of the land and her people in my next video, which I will post in the coming days, in the next few days. And at some point we will also need to look at education in Gaza and in the West Bank, supported by UNRWA, which encourages the hate of Jews whilst looking for the destruction of Israel. When rocks turn into rockets and war is cyclical. War is not in the interests of the people of Gaza and the West Bank, but it is helpful to Iran and other radical Muslim protagonists. I'll also need to address the matter of those Christians who now identify as Palestinian because of the actions of the PLO and are now being persecuted. Did you know that less than 1,000 Christians, circa around 900, were living in Gaza before the 7th of October 2023? Whilst the Christian population's proportion of Bethlehem, the birthplace of Christ, fell from just short of 90% in the 1950s to circa 12% in 2016. It's much less now. In the meantime, I hope this short video has given you something to think about, even if it causes you to question the narrative. So may I say this: may there be peace in the Holy Land in our lifetime. May there be peace in all our lives. And may we pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for listening to these few words, and I hope to see you again very soon. Thank you. Bye for now.